Students, now coming to the next topic, that is a process control block. So in the previous video I explained about the process states, the 5 states that are present in the process. Now let us see what is this process control block, PCB. So actually this process control block is a data structure maintained by operating system for every process. So this is a data structure maintained by operating system for every process. So whatever the process you are taken, a program is divided into means a program is when it is executing in main memory, it becomes a process. So a process is divided into 4 divisions: the stack, heap, text, data. And whatever the process that you are taking, a single process, that process is maintained in one process control block. Suppose different process are coming, P1, P2, P3. So each will be maintained some process control block about the information of that process. Okay, and each process information will be stored in process control block with their ID. Okay, so the PCB, the process control block, is identified by an integer. The process control block is identified by an integer, that is the process ID. Process ID, PID. So the process control block is identified by an integer with PID. Means which process, P1 or P2 or P3, like that. And PCB, the use of process control block is keeps all the information needed to keep track of a process. The process control block keeps all the information needed to keep track of a process. So what type of information this process control block will store? Let me explain that. So the process control block will store the all the related information of a process. So the different, so let us take this. Regarding the process, if you take a single process, the process control block will store the information regarding the process, like what type of information? The process state and process privileges and process ID, and it stores the information like pointer and program counter, CPU registers that are used for process, CPU registers, CPU scheduling. So based on the priority, which process has to be scheduled first, and memory management information, and accounting information, or else IO status information. So these are all the related the process informations. A single process, whatever you have taken, that process information will be stored in this process control block. Okay, so the process state indicates whether what state is in the current state, whether it is in running state or ready state, the current state of a program or current status of a process. Okay, whether it is ready or running or waiting, like that. Then what about the process privileges? Process privileges means it requires to allow or disallow access to system resources, allowing whether to allow or disallow to access system resources. So to use the system resources, that process had to give some permissions. So that information is also stored in this process control block. And process ID. Process ID is nothing but unique ID for each process will be stored in operating system. Unique ID for process. So based on that ID, we can identify which process is it. And next, coming to the pointer. What about the pointer? Pointer always points to parent process. Points to parent process. And you all know that the program counter is points to address of the next instruction to be executed in process. Next instruction to be executed in process. That information will means if this process is over, next what instruction process has to be stored in process control block. That related address will be stored in program counter. Next, CPU registers. So the CPU registers are used to store for execution. Storing the data, we use the CPU registers only for temporary. And CPU scheduling means it decides the process priority. The process priority will be stored in CPU scheduling. And what about the memory management information? Memory management information is nothing but it includes information of pages, information of page tables, or information of memory limits, how much memory we have to be used. So everything is memory management information. And next, accounting information. So accounting information comes under like amount of CPU used. Amount of CPU used for process execution, and the time limits and execution ID, etc. Everything will be stored in accounting information. And the last one, IO status information of process. It includes the list of IO devices allocated to process. So this is what the process control block will store about each process that is going to be executed. Thank you.